Yes, Robert. I think they're on the verge of bankruptcy because when the US market stopped buying, there was no domestic demand for
Correct.
them.
And there
So
was
they
no
were in
brand
real deep
visibility.
trouble. Yeah. It was a world famous brand, but no one knew who they were in Australia. So, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, what I've done, Lou, is a quick summary. I've done some digging on the background to the winery for everybody, just to kick off with. And then maybe while I'm waffling through this, you might want to start to work your way through the wines. I've put the lineup again in the chat room, and also there's a printout of the tasting mats as well, that went with all the packs today. This was a joint venture between a guy called Chris Milliken and Max Izaguirre. I've tried to pronounce that several times, and I'm sure I'm still stuffing it up, but that's my best shot, a Chilean. The winemaker, all through the life of this operation, was mainly French. His influences were mainly French trained, and that shows in the way these wines are being put together. The area that I think we've managed to find out where the vines come from is a very small cluster of tiny or smaller operations in Mapo Valley. Mapo is mainly the domain of massive producers, very picturesque area. The little spot where I think these particular vines came from is about 45 kilometers southwest of Santiago and about 65 kilometers from the coast. So to put that in context, in Australian terms, for example, Coonawarra is about 80 kilometers from the coastline. Stellenbosch, I think, is a little bit closer. And certainly you can't really find a comparative between this spot and any other New World areas that I can particularly think of. The terroir is different, the soil is different, and of course the main driving dominant varietal, Carmenere, is something that we don't encounter very much. Historically, Carmenere was thought to die out with phylloxera, and it's really interesting that it was only rediscovered in Chile, in this valley, in 1994, which is really not a long period of time from a historical point of view. The notes say that it was often confused with for Merlot, and I've got to say, of all the Carmenere I've tasted, I've never thought Merlot whenever I've tasted it, but such as it is, those are the notes that have come up. This operation did about 12,500 cases a year at its height. It had a very interesting model here in Singapore, where it was sold through major sponsorships. So F1, luxury yacht charters, etc. They were definitely aiming for the higher end of the market. A point that Derek made earlier before we came on tonight was that very little is known about premium Chilean wine because Chilean wine is washed through the supermarkets and the wholesalers, not only in Singapore, but all over the world. It also helps because of the trade. I'm not sure about what trade agreements are like these days under the new administration, but for a very long time, it was a trade-free zone between Chile and America. So a lot of that, again, assisted with importation of Chilean wine into the southern parts, in particular of North America. So that's a sort of background to it. When you're thinking of, you'll see in the summary there a lot of Carmenere, and of course Cabernet. The last two wines are about 70% Cabernet and the rest Cabernet Franc. So generally speaking, for those who haven't drunk lots of Cabernet Franc, it's seen on the light red end of the spectrum, right, as opposed to Cabernet, which is the dark fruit end of the spectrum. Cabernet lending a lot more grip and gravitas to a wine, whereas Cabernet Franc adds a lot more perfume phenolics to it. So you'll notice that in wines 5 and 6. So let's kick it off. I guess let's do this in glasses of two, Lou. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I guess people need to understand the story as well, how we came to end up buying these, because it does have a uniquely Singaporean story, this whole thing, right? The fellow's wife was a Microsoft
She was in
heavyweight.
tech here, which his background, according to what I could dig up, was in NFTs. And NFTs 15 years ago were very much in their infancy. And blockchain was just mainly just a concept emanating from Southern California, right? I don't think it was, it certainly isn't, it wasn't a fraction of what it is today. So I think they both had a certain background in tech to a certain degree.
She was a Microsoft senior in management here, I think. At least that's what I understand. And he was the trailing spouse, right?
Yep.
And so he went around, and I think he did a phenomenal job of placing these wines into restaurants here in particular. That's He did the whole yacht thing and the luxury thing, and the art collection thing, but also into restaurants, I think was his main target. So you never actually saw much at retail as far as I was aware.
No, in fact, there's a little bit floating around retail today in Singapore. When we first got a look at these wines, and in fact, I price pointed the bottom end of the retail pricing sector. Just a point to make out tonight is I really am not going to hammer what these wines used to cost. I'm more interested in what we think of the wines at their current price points. And
Yeah.
I also wanted to suggest that for those who have joined us tonight, we're just going to offer a flat price of $30 for anything that you buy off the site tonight for any of these wines. So I'd like you to think of in context with that rather than was 95, now 35, 32.50 if you buy six and, flog your eldest son, as security for that. I just don't want any like extra special fluff attached to that. I'd rather just say everything's $30. Think of it in context with that and think about how it competes at that price point in the Singapore retail market. So sorry, Lou, I might have got carried away.
As usual. But these came to us by virtue of during COVID, the wife was called back to Seattle with Microsoft. The fellow who was behind the marketing went back with her, and that was the end of the company, basically.
Yep.
So the wines were in storage at Bond here in Singapore, in Bond Storage, and the bills weren't getting paid. So we were amongst several people who were asked to come in, try them, and place a bid on them. So we did, and hence that's why we've got them, and we've got a fair lot of it. We're just looking at them. We thought the quality. There were some wines that we actually rejected. The white wines we just said no, not at any price. Couldn't give them away. But these wines that are left over, Rob and I went through them several times actually, and we were just very, very impressed by the quality and also the longevity. We think these things have got a lot left in them. So we got a lot of it, and we just thought it'd be a tremendous opportunity to pass on some really good price wines to our client base. But let's have a look at them.
Yeah. The other point, I tried to find the Chilean regulations as to what constitutes a Gran Reserva versus a Reserva, and I couldn't.
No idea.
Claude told me to ask another question, so I
I
gave
just
up
think
on
it's
that.
a very loose categorization.
Yeah. So don't think of it in context of how the Spanish approach Reserva and Gran Reserva. Think about it more in terms of the name and the nomenclature. So maybe the first two, one being a 20 and the other one being an 18, both Cabernets. The one thing that I would say is they are insanely different from
Yep.
a phenolic and palate point of view.
And you reckon these are coming off the same vineyard?
The same cluster. They never gave. All we can do is narrow it down to a region, a kind of microclimate in Mapo, and if you look at the geography of it and the topography of it, It's right next to a Bow Ox River, which is a little bit like the Ribera del Duero, from a point of view of being surrounded by water on many sides, very fertile soil, not at a high altitude. There are parts of Malpo that start to go up into the Andes, but we're not seeing that here.
Yeah.
So that's all the data I can give you. So it's probably a collection. It's probably fruit that he bought from a bunch of different places. But the odds are, from what the research I can find, is that they're fairly they're fairly concentrated. These small vineyard sort of garagista producers are almost all in one particularly definable area.
I don't know about you, but the first one I find very much more lifted in terms of its
Phenolics or palate or
both. It's brighter. It's almost on the sweet side of things. Lighter on its feet.
yeah. Technically, 20 as a vintage is seen as superior to 18 in Chile.
But it's just lighter on its feet. The acid on both is good, but the second one,
Yeah, much richer,
much
right?
denser, much richer, much broader.
Yeah.
So hard to do. It depends on what style you like. I mean, because they're totally different. Totally.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, obviously, definitely food wines. I know that always sounds like such an excuse to talk about wine tastes better with food, but I would say that sort of animal fat or animal protein with these would definitely add a lot of context to it.
But
I
the tannins are very resolved. The oak's integrated. Although I don't feel that these wines are in a hurry. I think they've got plenty of time on their side.
Yeah. There's a kind of polish to the second one, the Humboldt 18, that I really quite like.
Well, there's more structure to it, to me.
Yeah.
It's more interesting to me, the second one. The first one's quite enjoyable, but it's a simpler wine to me. They're both, the tannins beautifully resolved in both, though. I mean, there's no elbows sticking out at you and attacking your palate. There's no drying tannins at the end. It's all very lovely.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake for me to compare it to Left Bank Bordeaux at all.
Yes.
But there's a lot of 18 and 20 Bordeauxs that don't really have this sense of resolution and sense of place quite as much, and certainly not at this price point. At this kind of price point, they are definitely kicking goals. If you wander off to your local supermarket and look at stuff between 30 and 40 bucks, not much in this price bracket.
And the little bit of age helps us as well.
Yep.
I don't think you have to wait on any of either of these two. I mean, they're ready to go. But
yeah, I think they're cruising altitude, right?
Yeah, nor would I be in a hurry though. I don't think they're falling off a cliff at all. I think they'd easily, well, certainly 2-3 years, easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do other people think?
Wendy, what do you reckon?
What we got?
Okay, you want to say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, Mark.
I totally agree with everything that Lou said, to be honest.
First one is simple.
The first one I would have tasted blind, I almost would have guessed it's Australian. It's got sweeter fruit, softer, sweet, almost a bit like a fruit pastille. There's a slight minty character in the background, a little bit of savouriness. If there's much oak in it, it really doesn't come across as being particularly oaky.
No.
The second one probably surprised me because it's sort of much denser. It's more full-bodied. It's got more sweetness to it. But there's quite a bit of spiciness to it as well. I probably would have guessed, I don't know if it's 100% Cabernet, but it seems to me to have Cab Franc in it as well. It's got that spicy, almost slightly peppery, savoury sort of characters.
Well, certainly, if I think of South African Cab Franc, the attributes you just mentioned often show. as does that sort of heavy, weighty kind of richness. There's nothing we can really compare to the French experience because they say it tastes like Merlot, and I couldn't think of anything that tastes less like
That's
Merlot.
rubbish.
Yeah.
No.
So I really don't see the link. Maybe on a DNA level it does, but nah, I'm not feeling it at all.
No, I
Somebody
would never pick it as Merlot.
Somebody in the chat said, think about wines such as Conche Toro or Luis Felipe Edwards, which are the kind of standard, super well-known Chilean reds. And I think the quality of these with the additional age are nailing that quality coefficient. Those are the two that, if we wander around Fair Price Finest or of the like, they more than likely will have those two labels.
Yeah, I know the ones you mean.
Yeah.
They're very good in cooking.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got some bougie mates who cook and they say, no, you can't pour cheap wine into a spag bowl. It's not allowed. It's got to be a Chianti Classico Reserva with Puccini being played in the background. It sounds like hard work to me, but apparently. Yeah, well, let's have a look at that Carmenere 18 now. So think in context of number 2, the Cabernet from 18. We're now looking at what they call the crazy names, but the Rockhopper 100% Cabernet 18 number 3 Carmenere. I'm getting a kind of nail varnish thing on my nose. And it's quite, for me, on the palate, a little bit brittle and acidic. It's probably because the Humboldt is so lavish and generous. And maybe it's just a bottle that's varying. How's yours looking, Luke?
Nothing like what you described.
Okay. Good. So maybe it's just one bottle. Mark, how's yours?
Oh, it's a bit chemically varnishy characters to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Wendy mentioned it smelled like sesame oil.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Best had with hummus.
What do you think?
For me, of the 3, it's the one I like the least. I think 2 is my favorite. And then that bright freshness of number 1, the 2020 kind of showing just younger and fresher.
Again, the two Carmeneres are very, very different. I don't think you can compare them to the Cabernet, because especially after number 2, because that was.
Oh, you're on to 4 now?
I'm looking at them together, right?
Okay, 3 and 4. Okay.
I think it's a bit hard to compare a Cabernet to the Carmenere. The number 2 was just so lush that, and giving and broad. But certainly the number 3 Carmenere, or the first Carmenere, compared to that, is mean and lean.
Yeah. Number 4, the second Carmenere, the 2021, much nicer.
Different again, right? Very different. A totally different style to this number 3 thing. See, I'm not getting that nail polish thing that you guys have got, but it's certainly thinner and less generous. Whereas the nose on number 4, just a different animal, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd have a hard time picking that in a blind.
As what?
At number 4, I wouldn't know where to put it. I'd probably put it New World, but then I'd get lost.
Yeah.
And I'd definitely put it New World, but then I wouldn't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a little bit of, I'm not sure if there's Carmenere in the Swartland, but I'm thinking a little bit about really dry. Yeah, there isn't any, so it's okay, Eric. I'm wondering if being so close to the river, it's not getting the soil's not giving a lot of clay. I didn't dig that deep because I couldn't get the actual geography of the vineyards. And the other question, Lou, be super interesting, is 3 and 4 from the same site? Because, you know, like everything, go 2 meters to the left, it could be a totally different call.
Yeah, who knows?
Definitely prefer 4 to 3.
Yeah, me too.
Mark's point's interesting though, because maybe it's Chile operates under, if anyone else has got any info on that, it'd be interesting whether it operates with that 15% rule that New Zealand and Australia has, where you can put anything you like in for and not have to declare it. Because I'm wondering if Carmenere hasn't tiptoed its way into the Cabernet and then into the 2 blends at the end, the Cabernet and Cab Francs.
Frankly, I think anything is possible.
Yeah.
What these guys are making at the time. I mean, their philosophy was get the best fruit from the best place they could possibly do it, put it in the big heavy bottles, and sell it at a massive premium. That was the philosophy, right?
Job done.
And it worked for a decade.
Yeah.
Roughly, it worked really well. No, and these are so different, though, aren't
Yeah, incredibly different.
they? Number 4 for me is a clear better wine.
No, better.
Sort of going back to 3, so the older Carmenere, every time I go back, I get Marmite and umami, but then it blows off again. So I'm wondering if it's just a function.
I normally hate that. When I detect that in wine, that mighty thing, I normally hate it. And I'm not getting it in my glass at all.
Okay. Di's the one, she picks it up better than anybody.
Yeah, I'm not getting that. Because normally I'd just spit it out because I don't like it at all.
It does blow away super fast. Yeah, I think 4 above 3 for me. Josh, you prefer 3? What are green pyrazines, Derek? I don't know. Derek's question is, are there any green pyrazines in the Carmenere? The only reference, no, I didn't pick that up on any of the blurb that I looked at. So you prefer 3. Josh, is it because it's lighter and less sort of chunky?
It's brighter.
Right.
But I'm not getting
okay. Sorry, Derek. That pyrazine is a new word. I'll have to put on a t-shirt so I remember it. No, I certainly. So pyrazine is green bell pepper and capsicum, and I'm not getting that in either.
No, definitely not.
It's definitely more fruit. There's no reductive components to it at all. It's just fruit, crazy fruit. Some sort of interesting quartz minerality to it, but definitely more the fleshier end of those of the fruits components for me.
All right, so Josh has confirmed that it's like Australia then, the 85%.
Okay. Geez, that's a get out of jail free card. You can put bloody anything in it.
They can mess with that, can't they?
Yeah.
But the comparison to Merlot is a bit weird.
So weird, and I found it sounded so strange to me because my memory of drinking Carmenere was Merlot was the last thing that sprang to mind. The only simile I could ever find between the two is a sort of textural softness or a velvetiness, but certainly not on a fruit level or a palate, any kind of palate weight. Everything about the two are different.
There's a lot more spice to it. There's I don't know if I've had Carmenere before from anywhere else.
There'll be a little bit in Los Andes. Cheval des Andes will have some. And wonder what else. Cabala Loco.
Okay. Oh, haven't had that for a long time.
Yeah. Those are the only two that spring to mind.
And it's purely South American. It's not from anywhere else.
What, Cabernet Loco?
No, Carmenere.
Carmenere, no, well, certainly it was discovered. Up until then, they thought it had vanished. They
Right.
thought it was off the map, had gone the way of the dodo. And it was only in 94. I guess it's when, I suppose that's when DNA replication was starting on a more serious scientific level. Yeah, Derek, you're right. It was in Bordeaux before Phylloxera hit town. So Josh also mentions that in Chile there are no rules. So you can call it whatever you like. Spanish can't be happy with that. Because they're obsessed with the difference between Reserva and Gran Reserva is rolling
Oh, that's
audits.
a big deal in Spain. Good Lord. If you step over the line, you've got all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So in terms of opening these, I got to them super early, about 6:30 this morning, and then they would have stayed open for about 3 hours in the bottles, and then poured. So they've actually got a fair bit more time than we usually give to these sort of decanting wines. Next weekend we're doing some left and right bank Bordeaux from the year 2020. And we're going to be decanting those for a fair while as well, because I actually quite like how these are presenting in their conditions as they are now.
So the nose on this number 3,
Mhm.
is it the same as when you opened it?
No, it's changing like crazy.
Hmm.
When I opened these, they were giving way more richness and spice. But I expected that they were going to settle. And then you and I have drunk them at least 3 or 4 times together. And I actually think they're looking really good tonight.
They're looking better than they were the first time we tried
Yeah, I
them.
almost wanted to say that, and I thought, no, the salesman in me said, no, that's a stupid thing to say. But honestly, they do. I really prefer them tonight.
Mind you, when you try stuff in the middle of the afternoon, which is what we did, it's not
Yeah, and it was sweating buckets. The middle of industrial zone, 45 degrees. It wasn't a fun spot.
We'd also just rejected about 20 wines, remember?
Yeah.
So it was
The poor rep's face was dropping lower, lower, lower. It was like it was just market size. More stuff was getting pushed away than being put into a circling pattern.
oh,
Yeah, Derek, when you get to them tomorrow or whatever, have no fear about opening them and letting them sit. I think they're holding up well. I would say, Lou, that I'm more interested in drinking the first 2 Cabernets soonish. I'm not saying the clock's ticking, but I like where they are. Whereas certainly for me, 3 and 4, there's some time coming. I think there's some evolution maybe still evident, which I'm surprised.
in number 3, you reckon?
Yeah, I think that the acid structure is going to hold. I don't think it's going to
I
collapse.
don't see it's got the body to take it a long way.
Oh, okay.
Whereas number 4, I think, has.
Oh, yeah, more so 4 than 3.
But yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, they're very approachable, that's for sure.
Mm.
I guess that's why we like them. See, I wouldn't want to sell that number 3 for 10 years.
Oh, no, I think in 10 years' time, we're going to be drinking wine from some other place. Well, I'm sure. The wine industry is going to look very different in 10 years' time.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So, Josh, what's the point that Derek was making about not much Merlot in Chile? The guys have got a sidebar going here. Let's have a look. Oh, the green bell pepper. Yeah.
I'm not getting any of that.
No, I'm getting none. But Josh and Derek are way more experienced in this than me. All right, shall we look at 5 and 6?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, I haven't got.
Man, I want to just show people these bottles and
Oh,
what
yeah.
massive weapons they are. If you want to settle a domestic dispute, just drag one of these out of your wine fridge. They just weigh a ton. They really do. Horrible.
So in terms of that green bell pepper thing, is it a phenolic or is it something that you're looking for on the palate? Because certainly there's no green vegetal component at all in 6.
No.
Now these are supposedly dominant Cabernet, the rest Franc, without Carmenere. Different vintages, 14 and 17.
This is their
Royal blend.
workhorse royal blend, yeah. Okay. So what's in it?
About 70% Cab and the rest Cab Franc,
No Carmenere, you sure?
according to the notes.
Hold on. I have the bottle here
What does it say?
with my horrible eyesight. It's got, all right, so this is, shit,
Royal blend.
2017.
No, that's number 6.
Hold on then. Hold on. Wait for it. Okay, so 45% Cabernet.
All right.
Jesus. 15? Is it 15? Can't read that. Oh no, it's got Syrah. 10% Carmenere.
Oh, so they're going for a Bordeaux blend.
7% Petit Verdot.
All right.
So that must be a 15. Is that a 15? Yeah, 15% Syrah. So Cabernet, Syrah, Carmenere, Petit Verdot. Petit Verdot is 7%. 7%.
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Oh, okay, I'll try. 65% Cabernet. Sorry, it's very small writing and I'm blind.
We're going to
65,
crowdfund some spectacles for you.
yes, please. 65% Cabernet.
Right.
Sauvignon, sorry.
Well, that parlays with what I had.
18% Syrah,
Right.
10% Carmenere, and 7%
Rest Verdot.
Petit Verdot.
Right.
All right, that's in the 2014. Now in the 2017, same.
All right. It's probably the same back label. It's a bit
Same.
like Clarendon Hills.
It could well be because they haven't got a year on the back label. They have not got a year on the back label, so it's
Jackie says, thanks for that.
15% alcohol on this, Robert.
Not seeing it. I might find out when I go downstairs just now for a cigar.
15% alcohol. There you go.
So a note from Derek on Carmenere has a propensity for green notes, but with global warming and proper selection of soil sites, these green notes will become less apparent. And he says Carmenere will have its day because it's more drought and heat resistant than Cabernet. Interesting. I was wondering if I've tasted any out of Australia, and I couldn't remember in my dusty memories. And certainly nothing in New Zealand. And I doubt the South Africans. I don't think I've ever read it in the back
I don't think if we've had any in Italy. I don't think so.
Well, if Phylloxera took it out in France, the odds are.
We had Carignano, right?
Oh, okay, down in the south. That's got to be almost the same.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what Carignano is Sardinian,
right?
The stuff that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. It's more like Carignan. There's a little bit of spice, a little bit of pepper in there. All right, so these next two, I'm interested in these. I haven't had these in a long time.
Oh,
so
I know which one I prefer, but I'm not going to say anything yet.
14 and 17.
So according to the generic back label, it's most likely they're going for a Bordeaux Cabernet-esque style with a bit of Syrah thrown in.
Okay. Oh. Gee, that's a lot of wine for $30. Anyway.
I'm not getting corked on mine, Josh. I was pretty careful with that when they were opened. But if anyone else has got it, I apologize. Maybe I missed it.
No, mine are clean.
I certainly think that I prefer 14 to 17. Interesting note that I picked up somewhere in my rummaging around. I didn't realize that Cabernet is actually a hybrid of Cab Franc and Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That was a new one for me. So next time Mr. Digman bangs on about how much he hates Sauvignon Blanc, I'm going to remind him about its
If it's from New
illustrious
Zealand.
heritage.
Only if it's from New Zealand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
From the Loire, it's okay, but the New Zealand stuff, it's just so green.
Very green, yeah.
The pungent green,
Yeah.
weedy characters can't handle it.
So Roberto,
Yeah.
tell us about this 14 and 17. I'm struggling to tell the difference.
I'm getting more in the 14. I'm getting more weight, palate weight, a little bit like number 2 was giving more weight. The Humboldt was giving me more weight than number 1, and a little bit like number 4. So for me, 2, 4, and 5 were the sort of the bigger, more luscious, slightly maybe even glycerine kind of components.
Yeah, there's a bit more heft.
Yeah,
I think they're closer to
each other. Yeah,
than the other 2 pairs were. The other 2 pairs had quite big distinctions. These ones are closer to each other, but I agree that the 14 has got more heft. It's got more weight to it. But these ones are, put it this way, if you're in a lineup, you'd say these are brothers for sure, right?
Yeah. But maybe there was a bit of the postman in number 17 and less of the postman in 14.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, Derek, your point about Cab Shiraz blends being good, you're right. I mean, that 04 Cab Shiraz from Gran last week was awesome. A lot, that's kind of where Penfolds hung its hat on with that 389.
Yep.
And quite honestly, if I think about all the wines I've been lucky enough to drink in the last 30 years of my liver still talking to me, I still think that style, that blend is still one of my absolute favorites as blended wines go. I really do love Cab Shiraz. And particularly in that order, where the Cabernet still defines the structure, but the Shiraz just sort of comes around and fills in the gaps, as it were.
Well, if you're Australian, like myself, you just brought up on that blend. That's just, yeah.
It's how it works.
Your mother would take the milk out and put in the Cab Shiraz.
And she was probably drinking some at the time.
Well, she's an Italian woman. She had no problem with that.
So guys, but maybe it's a bit unfair, but maybe, sorry, we've been going on a bit, but there's been quite a lot to talk about tonight. Any favorites, any sort of standout favorites in these?
Yeah, number 2.
Two?
I think 2.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
kind of
that's
on
the
2 and
Humboldt.
5. I really prefer, going back to when Lou and I tasted these over the last year, 2 was one that we liked the most in the previous tastings. Yeah, that's that Humboldt. It's kind of more together and resolved. I'm quite cheered up by number 5, though. Yeah, thanks, Jackie. I agree. I think number 5, the 14 Royal blend, was also pretty smart. That seems to be the prevailing feeling. 2 and 5. Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, the blend works. I like it.
Mm.
It works. It's number two is, I guess, purer.
Yeah.
The number five is more complex. I think it's more interesting. But I can enjoy both for different reasons.
Yeah, that the 14 is nice. Thanks,
I
DC.
think you're right, Lou.
What's that?
Oh, the issue that I've got with the 14, the Royal Red Blend,
Yeah,
it's got a slight balsamic character on the
I kind of like
nose.
that, but yeah. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
I don't mind a touch of it, but I get a slight. Initially, I wrote down it reminded me of acetone, and then I said balsamic. I don't know where it comes from, but it normally is an oak-derived character to me. I just think the oak handling on it is just maybe a little bit rough. You know, maybe some nice brand new French barrique would probably give it some spice and vanilla rather than that slight. I think the oak in it has probably been well aged, and that's where you tend to get that balsamic character. Like you tend to get it.
Well, yeah, if you
Italian
look
ones.
to Tuscany,
Yeah, Italian ones.
that
Yeah,
comes out from ultra neutral oak
Mm.
mainly.
Yeah, I would very much doubt that winemaking operation would have used new oak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. 30,000 euros a kick. I don't think
No way.
it was up for them. I know that even if you go up the food chain to the more expensive stuff out of Chile, even then they tend to do blends of new and multi-generational oak, because I can see how when these wines first come out, just how just how absolutely enormous they are when on first release. Carmenere and Cabernet and Cabernet Franc out of South America, they certainly. If there's too much fresh new oak, they're just monsters. And I guess as the world is getting closer, drinking sooner and sooner, it's definitely a component. Well, guys, thank you all so much for coming. Special offer only until tomorrow. Anything that you like tonight, we're going to let you have the $30 a bottle. Email me with the order, please. Don't put it online, otherwise it'll play havoc with the invoicing. And a big shout out for next weekend, the 2020 Bordeaux.
Yeah.
We're going to do them blind. It's quite cool because we've chosen the mid-tier Bordeaux. So you've got some really sexy stuff in there. You got I think Ponte Canet is one of them, the one that I particularly love. And then Gaffelier, I think. The wines.
Not Gaffelier, no.
No, okay.
I picked a bunch of mid-range stuff that I haven't looked at for a couple of years. I remember them being really sexy a couple of years ago, and I thought,
Yes.
I'll leave them alone. But it's a good time. I was just going through our inventory list, going, oh, we got a lot of interesting little bits and pieces. It might be a good idea to have a look at them, see how they're cruising.
Yeah, sounds great.
At 6 years, almost 7 years, that should be interesting.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend, and hasta la vista. I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay. See ya.